Hello everyone, Lawrence here from Unicorn Bikes. Today we're doing something very different. This is the first episode in a three-parter about this bike right there. This is what it all started with for me. This is my GT Power Series 1.0. This bike is really old and in really rough condition, as you can see. I did a video a couple of years ago where I rode it again for the first time in years, and I really haven't ridden this bike, I don't know, for 10 years, like properly ridden it. And so it's gone a bit into disrepair. It's pretty rusty, it's discolored, tires are all dried out, the rear wheel isn't exactly round anymore, the brakes don't work, or brake, it's a BMX bike, there's no brake here. And yeah, it's just rusty, crappy brakes. And so what I want to do is kind of restore this one to its, not to its former glory, but just make it rideable again. So there are a few main things to address here. First up are the handlebars. I used to run these leather BBB grips, and they were actually really comfortable and very, very grippy. They're actually pretty good grips, even for a BMX bike. But I need new grips, bar ends, and then the main thing is probably going to be this brake that just doesn't work. As you can see, I run a really long single length cable because X-ups and bar spins and stuff. But I'm gonna go like use these things again, do it properly instead of just zip tying stuff to the frame. The brake at the back, it's rubbish. And then the rim itself, I don't know if you can really see it, but it's not exactly round or straight. So that's something to address. Obviously new tire. I do still like the hubs, and the hubs are still fine. So the hubs are still doing really well. Obviously the chain may need to get replaced because, well, it's very long and it's already in a very long setting here on the chain tensioner. I may need to fix the chain tensioner as it's a bit crooked. As you can see on the drive side, it's all crooked like that, but on the non-drive side, it's actually the way it's supposed to be. So that's something to fix. Then there's the cranks, a bit of rust. I'll try and get that fixed. But more annoyingly, as you can maybe see, either the chainring, which I love, it's a gorgeous chainring, either the chainring's bent or the axle is bent. I don't know which one of the two it is. It's likely that it's actually the chainring. I don't know if I can straighten that out, but I do love the way this one looks and I definitely want to keep using it. So that's going to be an interesting one. And then there's also some more basic stuff. The headset makes a little bit of noise whenever I turn the bars, but it's still free spinning, probably better than a brand new Canyon bike headset. There's some play in the cranks. Maybe that's also why this one appears to not be straight anymore. So I'll have to fix that, maybe go with new crank axles and bearings, but hopefully the chainring's good. And then there's also need for a new seat post, as this is severely worn out. Maybe I can just file it back to make it usable again, all that, but that's for another time. What I'm going to start off with on this bike is actually with maybe cleaning it first. The bike is pretty dirty. There's no mud on it or anything, but it's just rusty, cobwebs everywhere, some grass. Yeah, it's just pretty dirty. So I'm going to start with giving it a good clean with the good old Muckle pressure washer. Just cover it in foam, clean it properly, take it apart, and then clean every bit part by part even more. I don't know how I'm going to get the saddle clean. I do love this saddle. I probably can't find another one that's exactly this one. So maybe I'll put it in the dishwasher or something. I don't know how to really get this clean, but we'll try. But anyway, I've been talking for quite a while now. Let's get to some action. Right then, so now that the bike is mostly clean, I'm just going to start disassembling it. Hopefully I have all the right tools, because this is, again, a really old bike. I don't know exactly how old it is. It looks like it's mostly just Allen keys, so I should be good, but I have no idea how you take the bottom bracket apart on one of these. So should be interesting. Wish me luck. I don't know if you guys can see this properly, but I guess this kind of explains why the braking was so horrible. The pads are just completely dried out to the point where it cracked open. This doesn't look like it weared properly either. So yeah, I don't know if we can get away with just replacing the hoses and the pads. Maybe that's something I should look into, but it's gonna take quite some work to clean up the insides here to make them all smooth again. So yeah, we'll see. That's what happens when you actually glue your grips to your bars. But it's just dust falling out of here. Actually, this doesn't look too bad on the grips themselves, but my oh my, this is rusty. There we go. Next up, saddle. I do definitely want to get the saddle clean, so let's get it off. So far, everything's been the same Allen key, so that's better than all my other bikes, but the head on this bolt is really in bad shape, so I've got to be really careful here. Oh my god, this stinks. Good thing there's no smell-o-vision. But I got the seat post out. Holy crap, man. It's like a swamp in there. The big problem is over here, the black bit. I'm gonna see if I can get it off completely. There we go. So there's like no tread on here, like this is super smooth. I'm gonna see if I can file in some new grip lines, but what I'm guessing is I'll need to get a new seat post. So I'll lose this old school nice GT Racing logo. But camera's almost dead, or the battery is at least, so let's go watch some MotoGP while this thing actually recharges. That's an interesting one. So this is loose, but something there is kind of stuck. Interesting. There we go. I'm finding it really hard to spin this axle. So maybe I need 2 new wheels then. Hopefully not. Now, of course, for the main thing that I'm worried about, because BMX wheels are cheap, I definitely want to be reusing this gorgeous chainring. So how do I get it off then? I have no idea. But it looks like it's some sort of system with splines on either side. So I'm guessing I undo this tension bolt and then undo this, and then the whole thing comes off, and I have to do that twice, I'm guessing. There we go. And this is another really heavy boy. So I guess what GT did back in the day was they just casted 2 steel cranks, then one of them gets drilled and then the other one doesn't get drilled. So now, moment of truth, I'm gonna take this guy, the thing I'm trying so desperately to save, and check if it's still flat. Right then, moment of truth on the chainring. So I noticed a few problems at the back. There was a piece of metal bent over here, causing a high spot on the back side. And then there were also a couple of nicks over here. I filed them down as best as I can with the stuff that I have available to me here. And I put it on a flat worktop. If I put it down like this and push on it, it wobbles a little bit, which would indicate that it is bent, but it wobbles in all directions. So then I flipped it over, and now if I push on it, there is no wobble. So this is a bit concave or convex depending on what side you look at it from. So I can't like put this on a spinny wheel and properly true it up to see if it's perfectly straight, but the main reason I think there was wobble is because, well, the bolt that held the chainring to the crank card was pretty loose, and so maybe it just like went a little bit crooked like that, and maybe some dirt got under it, and that's why the chainring was wobbling when it was spinning. The way this chainring works, there is no spline on here, so this just slides over your crank axle, and then you have one bolt in here. It's nothing like what we get with mountain bikes nowadays, and you can even see that the hole has been elongated a little bit here from just force going onto it all the time in one direction. But I'm guessing this one's good to go. It just needs a little bit of cleanup, so let's do that. Right then guys, so I already took the chain off camera because everybody knows how chain comes off, but now the fork seems to be stuck. So I'm just gonna have to beat it out, I guess, so that I can send the frame off to a bike shop that actually has the right sort of tools to get the bottom bracket out, and then they can, you know, also swap out the headset for me because I don't have the tools to do that. So hopefully this is not just gonna fly out and hit me straight on the toe. Let's try and balance this thing. That's well stuck. That might take a while actually. Holy crap. Okay. Yeah, that is proper stuck. I'm gonna clamp it closer to here so there's not as much flex in the stand, and hopefully that will help me. That's about as close as I can get this thing. This is going to be an interesting evening, guys. How the... Yeah. It's not like the headset locks onto the steerer tube or anything. This is just completely seized. I mean, the headset has loosened up a little bit because I wasn't able to do the spinny bit. But yeah, this is going to take a while. So that was exactly what I did not want to happen. So there's not too much corrosion on the steerer tube, but I did knock the lower bearing out. So it does look like this will slide over, so I can take it out, but I did knock the lower bearing out. Yeah, I'll just put it on, put a zip tie around, and then the bike shop can take care of the hard part. There we go. One tiny little 20-inch rim. Yeah, let's see if I can replace it. But I'm going to ask the bike shop to replace the insides here because it is a bit too loose. The axle bearings, or like the actual bearings that make the wind do the spinning bit, they're completely gone and I don't have the tools to fix that. So maybe if I'm dropping it off at a shop anyway, maybe the shop can replace the rim for me. That would be easier. So yeah, that's basically it for now, guys. That was it for part 1 of the GT Power Series 1.0 revival. I've got the bike hanging on a bike stand. I'm trying to get all the water out because it was really smelly in there, and then it was also really smelly in there. So I'm just gonna give it another really good clean, then drop it off at a bike shop that has whatever tool this is and a socket that fits whatever size this is, because that sounds really horrible. And then they can also maybe replace the bearings and the rim and do the same for the front. Anyway, for now, if you guys like this video and you want to see part 2 where I actually get all the shiny bits on, or the replacement bits, because I've got some cleaning to do,